Hello my friends and welcome to my studio. Today I'm going to try some different things. First, I'm going to take my own reference pictures for sketchbook practice, and second, a new tool in the process of learning my craft, a program that might help with releasing the stress from picking the right color or other problems along the way. I also believe it can be helpful for new learners without preventing them to enjoy the process of traditional art creation. The app is called Artist Assist app, and I am happy to introduce them as today's video sponsor. I'll tell you more about that later on and we'll see how it works. But first, I'm going to need some reference photos for this project, so let me take you for a walk. For me, always has been easier to work from photos in the calmness of my studio. But that feeling, observing these animals, their reaction to the wind grazing their mane, seeing myself reflected in their eyes, is breathtaking. So instead of searching for photos online for my project, I'm learning how to take my own ones, to try to lock that feeling of being part of an artwork, nature's artwork. It feels magical, working in these golden hours, and there is a reason for them to be called that. These last moments before the sun goes down. When the sun shines, it's easier to differentiate your naturally created shadows. You need to pick the right spot, be patient, and observe the tricks of the natural light. I heard a lot that the best pictures happen when it's cloudy. It's probably true, but when you start painting, it's so frustrating to wonder where to put these highlights, especially when you are a beginner. The app I've mentioned earlier might have a solution for painters that struggle with these values or want to study them in depth. So I actually can't wait to go home and test it. But let me catch some last glimpses of this beauty. I think I've made some nice photos, but it's later than I expected, so let's call it a night. Now let's pick the right photo for my project and see how Artist Assist app can help me in my painting process. Like I said, it's better to take your own reference photos, even though 90% of them end in a blur. I think this one will suffice. Most of the horses were having their meal instead of posing, so I don't have much choice. So now, when our sketch is ready, let's learn more about our reference and make a plan of the painting with Artist Assist app. Here we go. This app is created to help artists in their journey in solving some problems. I believe it can be really helpful for learning, especially for beginners. The app runs in a web browser on various devices such as desktops, laptops, tablets, and smartphones. You don't need to install it, but if you decide to do it, it offers offline access. You can use all the features for free, but there are some limitations in terms of paint brands. For example, you can choose from only one brand of watercolors, and with the paid version, you have around 200 and better quality of the other features, so bear that in mind. And if you use my promo code linked in the description, you can save 20% for the first month using the app. Now that my pencil sketch is ready, I'm going to set the colors with the app. Here you can add your favorite paint brands. I'm Winsor & Newton girl, you know that. So let's pick this 24 color set that I use all the time. Having this information, the program can help me mixing my colors or picking the right color from the reference photo. Let's upload this reference photo now and ignore the blur. It's like an additional study of our object. Here's the fun part, at least for me. exploring the colors. I've been asked many times what to mix to paint a certain thing. This grass or the brown of the back, for example. I do it intuitively in my work, just a personal preference, but when you're a beginner and don't know your palette, it can be really overwhelming, especially if you are going for realism. So this feature might help. You just click where you want to understand what colors might be needed, and it shows you the potential mixes and percentage of the similarity so you can choose. Some of these mixes really surprise me, to be honest. I wouldn't go normally for some of them, but you learn something new every day, right? Let's add this mix for the sky to the palette, because that's going to be our first wash. This app combines mathematics and artistic searches, and that makes it brilliant for all the color theory nerds out there, because we all experience art and learning differently. I've always had troubles with backgrounds, but starting with them really helps. Also, if you want to try this feature to help you pick your colors to mix, just remember to use it as an inspiration. Just like the reference picture, it's there to guide us, to inspire us. When we learn, we tend to focus way too much, but the truth is, when we relax and start to explore the knowledge we've received, the real magic happens. The moment I've seen this color picking tool and how it works, I knew how it might be useful for me. I love intuitively picking colors and experimenting with their fluidity, but when it comes to commissions, it can be really hard. For example, if a person wants you to paint their pet, they want to see these familiar colors they see every day and love. You have to capture personality but also the right colors, and this tool can extract them for you from the reference picture and show you what to mix to achieve them. This is something to think about. It can be helpful for the professionals out there as well. Speaking of backgrounds, if you want to see the features of your main object clearly, the app can remove the background. Or if you want to create a simple illustration skipping the annoying background, this might help. Back to our painting, I recently caught myself that I include more background in my sketches. I guess it's something that I learned how to do. And besides, there is something in this place where horses roam that makes me want to capture it. I've done it before, and if you've been here for a while, you've probably seen this video. Like I've already mentioned, I got used to that Winsor & Newton palette and love to mix my own colors and experiment, but if you want to try some unusual mixes, but don't want to waste paint, I've recently refilled some of my colors and it's not cheap, you know. You can try this feature of the app where you can mix your own colors, but also what I found personally that's cool is seeing how they can be diluted with water and how pale they can actually be. This was pretty helpful for me. Seeing which mixes might do the job, you can try them in real life later on and have fun. I'm always worried when I paint animals that are monochromatic, that they might look flat. Probably that's why I picked this horse with more than one colors, just to avoid confusion. So take it as an advice from me. Pick the right photo. With more visible shadows and highlights, it makes it easier to decipher these values. I found it difficult to express the right values with certain photos, especially with people's faces and animals. It's just hard to see them sometimes. And for someone who wants to learn more where to put the shadows and highlights, this feature might help. You can even separate them from one another to be able to see them clearly. I think what all these features do is also to help you study your reference more. seeing things you've missed and focusing on them, trying to understand and not feel overwhelmed by the background. I have to admit it happens to me a lot when I'm on location. I'm easily distracted person, but sometimes it's hard with photos too. So this tool can be helpful in the future for me when I search for these highlights in my pictures. I was recently asked what would freedom look like in one picture, and since I was a child, a horse running through an empty field looked like freedom to me. I couldn't capture that in one picture, but the calmness of these animals quietly eating on the field is another kind of freedom, one that we've forgotten about. And me, here, painting this moment, happiness. As a self-taught artist, I've recently started to think a lot about learning process and how it's different for all of us. All these tricks from the Artist Assist app and my experience and observation, I really hope to help some of you through their journey. I always accent on the drawing and how important is the initial sketch before you start using colors, but like I said, learning process can be different for all of us, and if you are a complete beginner and struggle with that sketch, here is a tool that can outline the object for you and that makes it easier to be seen. You can even print it and trace it, which might be good for children as well, who can learn by tracing the lines, and in time the hand gets familiar with certain shapes and forms. Art is always related to freedom, messiness, and impulsive decisions. Sometimes when you look at a piece of artwork, you wonder what exactly is that. It can express certain emotion or state, breaking rules and boundaries. But before starting to break the rules, you should get familiar with them, learn how to draw and paint, and here, apps like Artist Assist app can be really helpful in your art journey. And learning your craft can open new ideas in front of you, non-standard decisions that can lead to the next masterpiece, and why not change a life or two? Stay creative, my friends. Bye.